Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluwafikemi. Thank you so much for joining me. Now today I'm sharing yet another recipe for one of my custom black soap mixes. Now this is what I prefer to call my brightening black soap mix. I'm going to be using this very traditional African black soap that is very common here in Ghana and Nigeria. So if you'd love to see what this soap looks like, then keep on watching. So I'm going to start off by building my soap base. Now the very first ingredient or the very first soap in this base is the traditional African black soap. Now this particular one, or this particular soap, has a very low fatty content. They don't use that many oils to make this soap, so it's great for customizing soap blends. Now the next ingredient in this soap is the 3 days whitening balls, but someone, a little bird, told me that this particular soap, this green Ghana soap, actually is an anti-rashes soap. It's used for safeguarding against rashes and actually curing rashes as well. It definitely does not lighten the skin, so I've been told. So I really don't know why they call it the whitening balls. Now the very next soap in this particular soap base is Dudu Osun. Now Dudu Osun is an indigenous Nigerian black soap, and it foams really well, so it's more or less like a foam booster in this particular base. Now the next soap is the Ghana Ozone soap, and this time I'm using the pink soap. You can use any other color. This same little bird told me that they all do the same thing irrespective of the color. Now the next soap I'm adding to this is a goat milk collagen soap. I had it, or I have it in my collection, so it went into the mix. Now the very last soap in this base is an orange extract based soap. Is a very popular soap in the market, and I tried using it personally on my skin, but it was too harsh, so it was just a no-brainer that I was going to use it to customize my black soap. Now with this particular soap, I shaved all my soaps. I couldn't get a grater, so I ended up using a knife to scrape off a little bit too much, the particles were a bit big. So you can totally skip this step and just have your soap grated as against slicing like I did. So the very first ingredient in this soap is tamarind paste. Now tamarinds are very rich in vitamin C, and it's a really great way to have topical access or topical application of vitamin C to one's skin. Now with this soap, for every ingredient base, I'm going to be mixing the soaps in. It's just easier that way since I'm cold mixing the soap. But if it's one thing, if you are going to recreate the soap, try to make sure you melt down your soap base a bit so that you wouldn't even need to grab a mixer or a hand blender while making the soap. Now the next ingredient is some stabilized aloe vera gel, and I'm using the fruit of the loom aloe vera gel. I prefer using stabilized aloe vera gel on my skin because the raw stuff actually makes me itch, and sometimes I break out when I use it on my skin, so it's just easier to use stabilized aloe vera gel. Next is some brown sugar. Now sugar generally in soaps is an easier way to get natural glycolic acid on the skin, and I'm using brown sugar because brown sugar has molasses in it, so it's just my preference. But you could use white sugar as well, but brown sugar is what I had. And with brown sugar I get to skip honey or adding honey to my soaps. Now it's time for the powders, and I'm going to be using turmeric and cinnamon for their anti-inflammatory properties. And next is some camwood and sandalwood powder for their brightening properties. And These powders are tawaz powder and allantoin. Tawaz is a salt or an alum, yes, and it's great for hyperpigmentation and skin odors and skin diseases. Allantoin helps with absorption, and citric acid is the next ingredient in the soap. Now, citric acid pairs very well with tawaz. It just helps to brighten and exfoliate the skin. Now, next is some propylene glycol and some sodium lactate. This helps with absorption of skincare products on the skin. And next is a combination of 3 oils: my shea nut oil, grapeseed oil, and baobab oil. Now, baobab oil is one that is native to, I think, Ghana. Ghana has a huge selection of, or a huge collection of baobab trees. So this particular baobab oil in this recipe is from Ghana. And I love my baobab oil on my skin. It just gives the skin a very, very supple feel and a very supple, look. So I'm still cold mixing my soaps, and with every ingredient added to it, I make sure that I give this a thorough knead. You want to make sure that every ingredient is incorporated. Now, I'm going to be using this serum. This is the Perfect White Serum. The name might be a little bit tricky, but this is a kojic acid-based serum. It's hydroquinone-free. And this kind of serums, I prefer them in wash-off products like soaps or lotion soaps. It's just an easier way to use serums like these. Next, I'm going to be adding some vegetable glycerin. Now, vegetable glycerin is a very good skin moisturizer, and in this particular recipe, it's going to lend a very moisturizing effect to the soap to make it non-drying on the skin. Now, I know a lot of people would say black soap is typically a very drying soap on the skin, but not all black soaps have the same amount of oils used to make the soap. But because this particular one is very, very, the fat content is really low, I have to bring back the moisturizing effects that the soap would have on the skin. So vegetable glycerin. Now, next is some kaolin clay. I love kaolin clay in soaps. It serves as a detoxifying agent and an exfoliating agent as well. It's just like having microbeads in your skin cleansers or exfoliants. Kaolin clay has that very clean skin effect on my skin and in soaps. So the next ingredient I'm going to be adding is some cosmetic grade glycerin. I cannot stress the fact that you have to add moisture to these soaps. And I'm also adding some more shea oil and some menthol crystals. I love menthol crystals. I love shea oil in soaps, and I love glycerin in soaps. It just makes the soap really soft and very supple. Next, I'm going to be adding essential oils. Now, essential oils are great for the skin, and I'm going to be using a combination of peppermint, tea tree, and lavender. Sorry, I really can't go through the process of showing you the bottles. It's just too tedious. But yes, essential oils are great for the skin and very good in black soap, custom black soap mixes. Now, the very last thing I am adding to this soap is some more kaolin clay, and that's because I want the soap to be pretty firm to touch. And with this particular formulation, this soap can last for between 6 months to a year, and that's because I did not use water while mixing this soap. I prefer making my custom soap mixes anhydrous mixes so that I don't have to worry with preservation and more or less spoilage. And because this soap doesn't have any fresh, other than the the tamarind, it doesn't really have any fresh factor to it. So now I'm going to be grabbing my hand whisk to mix the soap into a very, very smooth paste. Now, because I did a cold mix, I couldn't really get all my chunks down, but this will dissolve in time or with time as one stores the soap. Now, this is what the soap looks like. This is the third day after mixing the soaps, and I packed it in sterilized jars, obviously, and you can see that my soap is firm to the touch. I like to call this my soap of many colors because of the different chunks that didn't quite dissolve but will dissolve eventually with use and with exposure. The more the soap is exposed to the atmosphere, the softer it gets. So it's just best that when you customize these soaps, you store them away for as long as till you are ready to use. Now you can share with family, you can share with friends, but if you want to use this or make this on a commercial scale, make sure you do the right thing and get all your ingredients right. Now it's the holidays, it's a season for sharing and for giving, so you can wrap a pretty bow over any of your custom soaps and gifts to family and friends. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!